Well, guys, today we're going to take a look at the store-bought pantry. We're going to go through what is in there, maybe do a little bit of a tidy up. Hopefully it's not too terrible. I haven't really investigated it in a little while, and make a shopping list because this week we're going grocery shopping because it's free turkey time. Oh yeah, I'm so excited for that grocery haul. I've been waiting for like weeks to be able to do that one for you guys. Spend $300, get a free turkey at Superstore. This is what we look forward to every Christmas. So, with that being said, we need to take a look at what's behind me here on these shelves, go through what we actually consume, what we don't, get rid of what we can get rid of, and hopefully free up some space and make a good, educated list. I don't know what the word is exactly, but I don't want to just go and shop willy-nilly. I want to have a plan. That's where I'm going with this. So, let's take a look. Probably the first thing that we really need to address here is we have stockpiled throughout the year. I cannot pass up when something is a great deal in that flyer, and we always go and try and look and see if we can get that item. Now, granted, in today's day and age, it's not always at the store when you get there. That's just luck of the draw. So when you get there, and if the getting's good, make sure you get it, right? For example, last week, we bought peanut butter. You can see here, it is already all stocked up. We've got our 5 jars. That will last us for months, especially now that we don't eat toast, right? So mostly we use that in cooking and stir fries and smoothies and things like that. When I make my granola, I sometimes use peanut butter or other nut butters in place of some of the regular butter or oil. Works fantastic. So that's something we've already stockpiled. We're not worrying about that. We got these at $4.44 at Food Basics last week, or maybe the week before. So as you can see, we're always watching out for those sales. On this top shelf here, we're going to start there since we just talked about the peanut butter and how well stocked that was. But as you can see next to it, that's our cocoa. Definitely running low. I have bought a big bag and I split it between the 2 containers because it actually had gotten ripped open. We definitely need some more cocoa. So that's going on the list. And so hang on here. Cocoa, check. So my list already has some items on it because I snuck ahead and I went through the flyer. And I have to admit, Superstore does not have a lot of wonderful gems on the flyer for this week, but it is what it is, right? So we've already got some things on the list. There's the President's Choice teas are on sale for $2.99. And as you can see, that is something that we stock a lot, especially green teas and some of the fruit teas. I am going to take you through our herbs that we collected this year. You can see there's a few on the shelf here from last year still, but all of my stuff from this year is sitting on the freezers. I'll show you a clip of that. And I need to sort it and I need to get it put away because it's really annoying moving it every time I need to get into the freezer. So that's something that we definitely stock, is a lot of the teas, black teas definitely, as well as orange pico. So tea is something that is on the list. If I can find some stuff at a decent price that we need, I do want to stock it up. If I move these out of the way, you can see here. So usually I have the tea right out to the front. So we are short 3 boxes. And what I would just do is pull them forward and rotate them, you know, how you should do. But sometimes you grab from the back because there's different flavors back there than what's at the front. So it's just going to be what it is. I will have a quick look at them later. And really we just kind of, if we see something we like we love the dirty chai tea. If you get from President's Choice, it is so good. So that's one that disappears really quick around here because everybody loves it. But enough talking about tea. The other thing that's on this shelf here is coffee. And there's one back there and that one. Only 2 left. That is precariously low for me. I have been waiting to get a good deal on some coffee and hopefully do this grocery haul video. So we need to get at least 3 or 4 more things of coffee to see us through. We probably go through 1 to 1.5 a month, and I would really like to have a secure stash of about 6 months worth of coffee, just because you never know. So that's something that, according to the flyer, it is on sale for $15.99, but they get us in there all the time saying it's $15.99, and that's for ground coffee, not for the whole beans. So we will see. Food Basics does have coffee that we like for $14.99 for the whole beans for the 1 kg pack, and I think if it's $15.99 and it's still a whole bean, we will purchase. But because we use an old-fashioned perk, we have to grind the coffee ourselves to a coarse grind. So it's better to buy the beans, plus they store a lot longer. I have to admit, as I get looking at things down here, I realize there's very little organization as to how I have things laid out. Originally, that top shelf was mostly all baking type stuff, but I don't really bake anymore, so it's gradually made the switch. But one thing that we do need a bit more of, and you can just see them poking out the back there, is those soda crackers. They're great because the kids take them to school. They like them still in their soup. Even though Chris and I no longer eat them, it is still nice to have those as a backup, and they keep for a very long time. So I've wrote down 2 boxes of the soda crackers onto my list. And you saw me moving those Triscuits down onto the next shelf because this was my organizing going. I've just kind of stuffed things in front of other things. So now I've got my 6 boxes of Triscuit crackers. I do find even with the diabetes and stuff, I can eat 6 Triscuit crackers with cheese and ranch dressing or something like that, or meat or whatever as a treat. And I don't seem to have too many issues. So we do keep them on stock because when people show up and it's kind of like that last minute, oh, what can I put together quickly? It's really nice to be able to do cheese, crackers, pickles, that kind of a tray. So we always keep Triscuits in stock, and we've got 6, so we don't need any more of those. We took advantage of a $1.88 sale. Again, I think it was actually no frills this time, but that was a couple weeks ago as well. The big one that is a huge hole that I've been trying to get on sale for weeks is mayo. I'm down to my last jar of mayo, and mayo goes pretty quick because of the fact that we make all of our own dressings. Now, yes, I could make my own mayo, but been there, done that, and it didn't turn out very good, and it was kind of a waste of product. So I just said, you know what, this way it keeps. I'm happy. We just make sure we're watching which mayos we buy and kind of go from there. Unfortunately, it is something that is slowly creeping up in the price bracket and hasn't come back down. But 4 mayos are definitely on the list no matter what, because we need those stocked up before the Pantry Challenge. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck having to buy them during the Pantry Challenge. The Pantry Challenge is another thing I should quickly talk about here. We are participating in the 3 Rivers Challenge again this year in January, February, and it is very, very important to realize that that challenge is not about stockpiling now in order to make it through those months. We have put a lot of food away, which you're going to see in an upcoming tour of our actual homemade pantry. And this is something that we keep in stock year round. You can see behind me over here, oats, dish soap. Like, we have a mindset here of make sure you have what you need and make sure it'll last a few months. And we're lucky enough to have the space to store that. So this is not something that is new. This is not something that we don't do multiple times a year. But this one for Christmas is just a little bit special because there's treats for Christmas and it's getting ready for the Pantry Challenge. All right, this next shelf here, I'm trying not to block the light. We have a few kind of random boxes. We've got nuts and pumpkin seeds and things like that in the middle here for our granola. Here we have a random box that I just can't seem to part with of things for baking. I know I don't bake anymore, but when it comes to Christmas, the kids like to take stuff for school, for their friends. So I hang on to it and slowly it dwindles. The one thing I do still use is the sweetened condensed milk to make our homemade ice cream in the Ninja. I will do that as a video because it's amazing. And then this box over here really is just a random of sauces. We got a great deal at Dollar Tree. These are $1.25 for these curry pastes. We got green and red. Tons of them in there stocked up. We've also got our red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, white wine vinegar. The only thing that I noticed was not in here that definitely needs to be added is rice vinegar. And the other thing I would probably purchase is another Worcestershire sauce, because that is something that we do go through, especially when James is cooking. He absolutely loves Worcestershire sauce. And another item I realized we were short on is our Blue Dragon oyster sauce. Unfortunately, Superstore doesn't carry that brand, or at least that product. So we are stuck having to go to Metro or somewhere like that for it. So it won't be included in this grocery haul, but it is important to us to use that brand because it has no MSG, and that's really hard to find when it comes to oyster sauce. And finishing out this row, we have, I've got them facing the wrong way, of course. We have our almond flour, lemon juice, our canned pineapple rings for raclette, and vinegar, because you can never have enough stocked vinegar. One thing I will say is that is not enough almond flour for us. We go through about a bag of almond flour a week. So depending on how much we have the kids, we do go through more some weeks than others. But that is something that we really like. We really like the Joe's brand of almond flour. We get this at Walmart. I think we've actually featured it in a separate grocery haul from last year or earlier this year. But this is $3. It is dirt cheap. You get 200 grams. Now, I just looked at in the flyer for Superstore, they had their President's Choice almond flour on 454 grams. So basically 2 1/4 of this bag, and it was $15 on sale. So these are $3 each, which means I wouldn't even be $7 for the same amount of flour. It's a great deal. We always buy 5 every time we go into Walmart because we don't go there all that often, but it is something I'll be sure to be stopping in there and stockpiling before the Pantry Challenge starts. I'm going to start on the bad end of this fourth shelf here with the pasta. To be honest, those 4 pastas are our last remaining regular pasta, and they are for the chickens, but soon we'll have that space there to fill with other good stuff. I did go through a phase where I was buying that chickpea pasta. You can see there was a couple jars or a couple boxes, but I will show you in a moment what we have switched to, and it has changed the game. Back there, you can still see we've got some chow mein noodles. I do find with the chow mein noodles, if we take them out and I mix them in, a small portion, like one of those little square kind of thing, it just gives me that little feeling like I've had chow mein with the noodles without actually getting all the carb content. So I've been testing really, really well after doing that. So the chow mein noodles got to stay while everything else went to the chickens. And basically the rest of what you see on that shelf is peanuts, sunflower seed, flax. There's some dates and some dried apricots, things like that. Again, all stuff for trail mixes or granolas, things like that. We eat a lot of that sort of thing around here. Produce wise, other than what we've put away from the garden, I do purchase onions and carrots. I've got 2 big bags of our white onions and 2 big bags of the red onions, and they just hang here. It works out perfect. We do go through them quite quickly. These will manage to keep us probably until spring though, which is fantastic. We bought them at a great deal, $1.88 for a 10-pound bag. Absolutely wonderful. Unfortunately, my carrot storage did not go so well this year. It was too warm down here in the basement. We put them into that Rubbermaid tote with the sawdust all around it. It just got too warm, they sweated, and they rotted. So carrots are on the list. Unfortunately, I'm not getting them for any decent price, like $1.88. I believe they're on sale this week for $5.50 for a 10-pound bag. So hopefully they've got that, because I can put 2 10-pound bags into the fridge, and we'll just have to make that last until the next growing season. But what we have here, ignore the talkies. Those are Alex's. She's saving them to take to school at Christmas for her friends for a little treat. That's her thing. She likes to take junk food to school. It's funny, kids. Anyways, we're trying to instill really good values. Up here we have all of our salt, and one thing we have learned over the years is salt in some sort of plastic sealed container. See, you can hear that. It is still moving around in there. We used to buy my pickling salt, it came in those little cardboard containers, and it would just be one huge clump every year when I went to use it. So no longer, if it's not in some sort of vacuum sealed plasticky type container, we don't buy it when it comes to the salt. So I do have a couple of these pickling salts left, which is fantastic because you don't find them in these containers all that often. And then the other thing we have up here, these big Nesquik containers. This is actually our cane sugar. We buy it in the big 10 kg bags and we split it up. And I'll be honest, this will last us so long because we don't use sugar anymore. We switched to the stevia for so much. And when I make my jams and jellies now, I'm doing a low sugar, which is basically using maybe 3/4 of a cup. Making jams and jellies and syrups was where I used to use all that sugar. So it's a wonderful thing. I have to say my teeth have improved immensely cutting out the sugar. But I've got quite a bit here, and I'm not sure how long it's going to keep. But we do have a few syrups and things to make coming up to start emptying those freezers. Otherwise, what's up here is non-perishable. We've got dish soap. Dawn is something that we stock a lot because I use it for my fleece for the sheep when I'm washing and scouring. And then we have all of our saran wraps, tin foil, that sort of thing, parchment papers, and Ziploc bags, which are very, very low after the growing season. So I need to get Ziploc bags on the list, which I'm going to do right now because otherwise I'll forget. That's why I brought the list. The other thing is, like, Ziploc bags have gotten absolutely ridiculously expensive. I think for the big freezer bags, to buy a pack of 40 is like $12. And the nice thing is that $12 goes towards our $300. So it can add up pretty quick when you're buying some of those bigger ticket items like that. Let's move on. I have to admit, it's actually kind of fun going through this because I don't think I've ever gone through our store-bought pantry in this kind of detail with you guys. And it's sort of fun explaining why we have some of the stuff that we do and why we buy it and so on and so forth. So I have to admit, I'm kind of enjoying this one. Olive oil, I have to admit, always at least 10 jars. So I've got my 10 jars here, and to be honest, that's probably enough because we do use that lamb lard so much more now. But one thing I will tell you, the price of oil has gone wild. I mean, when I originally stocked this and had like 20 jars down here, we bought them at $4.44. And I know that's going to date me because that would have been pre-COVID, and a lot of those did expire, but they were still perfectly fine. And now, I mean, I'm out there scrounging to find for $12.99. Like, that's just a wild price difference, isn't it? So definitely something we are rationing use of a little bit more than we used to. We've got our candied ginger here, excellent for helping to fight colds. And behind there is our fish sauce. I do keep quite a bit of fish sauce. This actually is less than normal, so I might take a look because I can't remember if we bought that at Superstore. But I use the fish sauce to make my homemade Thai sauce that I can. So I don't need to make it just yet. I think we still have 3 jars left in the pantry, but it's something that I could make for sure. So if it is from Superstore, I am going to grab some more of it just to stockpile this up so that we can make some of that over the winter months. And another huge ticket item that is always well stocked in the pantry is large flake oats. I think I have about 10 of these big bags here. And the reason for that is obviously I do the granola, but it is so much cheaper to grind your own oats to make oat flour than to buy the oat flour. And there's one other thing left on the shelf, but I'm going to come back to it at the end because it's something that I'm super excited about. So we're going to move down to the last kind of store-bought shelf, and then I will come back to this. Okay, so technically I have 2 shelves left, but this top one here has got a lot of lamb broth, which is homegrown. Then we have our granola bars. We really like the cashew granola bars and the Go Pure. Both of these are very, very well made, very little negative ingredients. Chai seeds, definitely a big one around here for smoothies, things like that. Now, you might remember these from our stock at September. We have been slowly chugging through those, but I do think they will keep for us and last until the new year, or through the pantry challenge for that matter. Olives, we're not even going to talk about those. They were on sale and we bought them and we don't eat them. And then our brown sugar, which we have not bothered to stock up because we just don't use it anymore. And then dropping down here is what's left of that maple syrup from last year. Remember our grocery haul? We bought all that maple syrup. We still have quite a bit left, which I'm super impressed with considering we use it quite a bit. And some coconut milks there. And once again, I'm going to harp on about check the ingredients on things. Coconut milk is one of those things that there always is such different stuff in every brand, and you get what you pay for. We really, really love the Thai kitchen one. And let me just find the ingredients. Water and coconut. That's it. That's all that's in there. And that is what we look for. We don't want all the preservatives and things like that. It's not required, not necessary. These keep for plenty of time for us, especially since we eat a lot of curries and things like that. But make sure we always have these on the shelf because you can't buy them everywhere. And the last shelf in this little section here, we've got things like our brown rice, wheat bran. There is some bags of basmati rice at the back, which are being stored for chickens now that we no longer eat them. We don't even really eat the brown rice, but we do hang on to it because it's vacuum sealed and we could bring it out when we have guests. One thing that we do stockpile a lot of is our lentils. We feed them to the chickens as well as ourselves. We do have quite a few beans and things in here, which we don't stockpile as much anymore. Plus, we grew a lot of beans this year. And last but certainly not least, what we have in this section is just a hodgepodge mess of spices. Lots of curry spices, things like that that we use a lot of. Black pepper. Definitely going to add another one of these to the list because I know this is my last one in here, and it's something that's a great ticket item when you want to bump up that bill a little bit higher, right? Need more of it? Why not? We do tend to buy all of our spices and things in these bigger containers. It's just something that we use a lot of doing scratch cooking, and it is so valuable to have a whole bunch of these sealed up down here. I will be honest, I actually have no idea what is in these. I'm almost tempted to say I should take them out and put them onto the freezer quick, and we're just going to have a quick look. And that way I can write down things and not just buy more willy-nilly when I really don't need them. I have to admit, I do love a good sort out. There's just something satisfying about it, even though I know within weeks it'll be a disaster all over again. Although maybe the spice is not so much because I'm not rating that on a daily basis. But one thing I am noticing here, and it could be a problem, is after just kind of adding and adding and adding, I'm finding that there are bags that I had opened, and I have multiple bags of the same things opened. And I think it is time to maybe go through things and really kind of take some stuff upstairs. And if it doesn't fit in a jar, it goes, because I'm not sure how long it has been open. So definitely one of the first things, like I say, I'm going to tackle is the items that, oh, that one even has a hole in it. Items that are open and losing stuff everywhere. We're going to get them out of here and then kind of see where we're at from that point. To be honest, that actually looks like all the, oh no, a big thing of cloves is open. So definitely going to separate out those first. Then I'm going to lay out each type separately and we'll see what we have. Boy, oh boy, when you get it all laid out, it is a lot of spices. I don't know if I need to buy much of anything, to be honest with you. So first thing I'm going to do is swap these bigger bags into this little box. It kind of works nicely. And worst case scenario, I can slide a few things into the side, but I just think it will pack in a lot better and work for me a lot easier to tell what I've got when I come down. One thing I definitely will say is I do not need any more coriander. I had 2 of those, and I have 2 packs of this turmeric as well. 1 whole one of cumin plus a half, which I am still going to put in here because that's something that we regularly come down for. My cloves, I'm going to put the full one in here tucked on the side. And then I've got the open bags of the cloves and the turmeric, which again, I'm not too worried. I'm going to still store them down here because those are items that we come down for on a regular basis. So that box is full. Let's move on. And now we're kind of just left with all these little bags that just get tossed in and mixed up, and I just keep buying more and more. I'm going to start with our 2 bags of curry powder. I actually have a small one as well. That really isn't a lot for us because we do go through it. Coriander, I mean, a bag like that of coriander will last us for a year or 2. Hot chili powder. Note 2 L's. When you purchase something like this, it is not the same as regular chili powder. We learned that the hard way. Ground ginger, another thing that we go through a lot of because we put that into our smoothies as well. The pepper really is about the only thing I am going to put on the list for spices. That and probably some more chili powder, because chili powder is something I go through a lot, especially with all this taco meat we've been making. Speaking of the chili powder, I only have these 2, so I definitely would get at least 2 more because you use almost 1 whole bag of this when I make the taco seasoning for that big batch that I do for canning. Onion powder, celery salt. I'll be honest with you, I actually bought these quite a while ago. The one expired June of 2023. It's still sealed up, but we started making our own and it just seems to take a really long time to go through these, but we didn't grow celery this year, so maybe over the winter I'll try and use these up. Ground cinnamon would be another one I would add to the list. I should do that right now before I forget, because I only have the 2 and then obviously that one that had broke open, but it was already open in the first place. We actually switched to buying these in bulk from Bulk Barn, so I didn't know I actually had this packet down here. It expired November 27th, 2024, so we probably should use this up. But poppy seeds are something, especially this year, we had so much success with growing kale out in the garden that we were making kale salads. And I love a creamy poppy seed dressing. And I make it from scratch with our stevia instead of adding sugar. Fantastic and works great. Love it. So I'm going to hang on to these and hopefully get them used up soon because there's still a lot of kale frozen out in the garden, but it still seems to work. And last kind of but not least, we've got just some random ground mustards, thyme. Again, it just seems like I'm kind of bunging it in there. Tandoori masala. We like this kind of sprinkled onto chicken or something like that when we're grilling it. Celery seed. The only time I really use celery seed is for my tomato juice. which I didn't make a lot of this year. So this is great because this is a more expensive thing to buy. And I did get a whole bunch this year at Bulk Barn as well. So have that as a backup. I can't pass up things being on a discount. Ground cloves, no idea how long it'll take me to use these two, but I couldn't pass it up. Mustard seeds for pickling. And really that's kind of it. I always keep vegetable soup mix on hand because it makes a really, really nice dip with sour cream and mayo if we have company coming and we need something quick. And really, that's it. Spices, organized, check. And I only added 2 things to the grocery list: pepper and chili powder, and maybe the cinnamon. But cinnamon's sometimes a bit more expensive, so we'll see. Another thing I noticed when I was working in the pantry here was vanilla. I have 1 container of pure vanilla left, and I should really get another one, and that's a bit more of an expensive item, so this is a great time to buy it. All right, so I got so excited about organizing my spices, almost forgot to come back to that one item that I wanted to talk about on the shelf behind me, and that item is, drumroll, konjac flour, pasta, and rice. Game changer for me. This is, I don't know if anybody has actually heard of konjac flour or konjac plants. It's a root that they use, and it's basically a pasta and rice replacement for us. Not super cheap. You're looking at $5 for one of these containers, but I'm going to read this to you. 1/4 of the package, which is what's considered a serving, is 2 grams of carbohydrates and 2 grams of fiber. So that means, you guessed it, it cancels out. There is no carbs in this, and it is amazing. We use it. I'm going to open one of these just so I can show you the little packet that it comes in. So if you've ever had like the fresh udon noodles or something like that, it's basically the same thing. It comes in a little liquid pouch. It looks weird. Maybe I'll cook some up and I will show you it and splice it over here at the end of this video just so you can get an idea. So you're definitely going to be seeing some more of this product in upcoming videos, especially during the Pantry Challenge, as it has become kind of a regular staple in our diet. And it really is a wonderful way for me to enjoy pasta and rice in my diet again. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you've enjoyed the tour of our store-bought pantry. Stay tuned because we will be doing a tour before the end of the year of our homegrown pantry as well. And hopefully we have managed to tuck enough away to see us through that pantry challenge for January, February, and hopefully March, because it's great to save those pennies and use stuff up at that time of the year. So without any further ado, it's time for me to go shopping and see if I can get a turkey.